Hello guys, what's up? This is operator 214. So I just this is gonna be an ad lib blog on just some of my thoughts that I read. I kind of read recently a news article here about this one. It says reasons why ship owners prefer Filipino seafarers. Now, here's the thing. I kind of partly agree with this news article that I kind of read, but I don't think that the main reason why why Filipino seafarers are preferred by ship owners is not because of their skills and discipline. Don't get me wrong. Filipino seafarers are very skilled and discipline, but I don't think it's the main reason why ship companies and ship owners or manning agents want Filipino seafarers. It's not what you think or what the article says here. Now, they kind of said in propaganda. Of course, this is just propaganda that we always hear about on almost practically every day is a Filipino seafarer. They claim that the Filipino seafarers are preferred because of their skill and discipline. But in reality check, Filipinos are preferred because they are cheap, compliant, and easily controlled. Now, shipping companies and manning agencies don't prefer Filipinos because of loyalty, attitude, or natural seafaring instincts. They prefer Filipino workers because, one, they accept lower wages than compared to European, American, or even Chinese counterparts. Even some cases, even Indians. Now, number two, the second reason is that they rarely unionize or protest due to fear of blacklisting, which is still existed up to today. Now, blacklisting isn't exactly it isn't exactly officially said, but there is a form of blacklistings here in the Philippines. It's not through the agency like PUEA or DMW. It's blacklisting here in the Philippines is more like something about the Association of Ship Owners. They kind of blacklist seafarers that they consider dissents. Anyway, going back, the third reason is that the Philippine government provides minimal protection, letting agencies exploit cadets and seafarers freely. So that provides a leeway for these abusive shipping owners and ship owners as well. They kind of prefer it because the government is too afraid or too coward to take action against these exploitative abuses. Now, another thing that I would just like to say, which is number 4 by the way, contract substitution and illegal deductions are common and legally unpunished. And 5, cadets are used as underpaid labor or even paid to train, essentially modern indentured servitude. This is very common, almost practical on almost all shipping companies or ship owners here in the Philippines. Can you imagine you're doing manual labor as a deck cadet, and that manual labor that they are kind of forcing you to do is because it doesn't even have any relations on the actual work as a seafarer. But they still kind of use it because, one, the government doesn't really care about it, and two, seafarers are a lot more cornered because of these kind of options given of the high unemployment rate of deck cadets after college. And for everybody's information, the unemployment rate is as high as 80%. Yes, I'm not joking, it's 80% that high. There are multiple news reports confirming that 30,000 seafarers graduate every year, and yet only roughly around 5,000 or maybe even less get accepted to the actual work itself. So if we kind of do some math here, that's almost somewhere around 30,000 and around 5,000. I'm not very good at math. But the point here is the unemployment rate on a deck cadet is very, very high. So better choose carefully for incoming maritime students. Choose carefully if this is the course that you want to take later on in life, because the unemployment is staggeringly high. Anyway, we're not gonna go through that because that's another can of worms and another rabbit hole for us to dig with. But we're kind of focusing on the top topic here: why ship owners prefer Filipino seafarers, and it's not the way you think it is. So analysis why this propaganda exists. Well, this exists because Filipinos are preferred because it's strategic. It's either because to mask the exploitation behind the fake price and to discourage protest by feeding seafarers the illusion of honor, pride, and uniqueness. And then in addition to that, they kind of more like brainwash or groom incoming or current maritime students to accept abuse as a sacrifice for family and country, which is very misleading and manipulative if you kind of put it in that way. Now here's the thing, it also adds to justify poor working conditions and low pay in this it's used to justify poor working conditions and low pay wrapped in nationalism propaganda. Now here's some examples. If you read the article carefully, there are some examples here that I would like to point out on contradictions and exploitations. One of these is hardworking with stamina kind of thing. When in reality that's a red flag. It's used to justify overwork and injury with no insurance or compensation. Another thing that I would just like to point out here is the flexibility and reliability that they kind of interpreted on this propaganda, on this news article. They say something about the lines that they won't complain unless if you violate the contract. That's basically how it translates on my brain. But anyway, another thing that I would just like to point out, here's the thing. They also point out here their manipulative clauses like they're good in English, and yet even if we are good in English, we are treated as a seafarers as replaceable and disposable labor. And I don't think as well as they kind of added here the kind of clause that they prefer by Japan. I don't think that is the case as well on this article. For me, it's the only reason why they kind of said it is that seafarers have no bargaining power, and many victims or many Filipino seafarer victims are victims of contract substitution and arbitrary dismissal. And they kind of said also here on this article that I like to point out is that women seafarers earn $50 a month plus tips. Honestly, this is a flat out lie, and this is outright wage exploitation and not empowerment. Now, why does this matters? This kinds of propaganda. Well, this kind of narrative deceives future maritime students, many of whom are already drowning in tuition debt. It tricks them into thinking that there's pride in suffering, when in truth, it's a well-oiled system of cheap labor extraction. And it also helps whitewash government failures. Instead of protecting seafarers, laws like Magna Carta for Filipino seafarers end up institutionalizing this kind of exploitation setup. So here's my take, just a conclusion. I know this is the truth, and the truth really sometimes hurts. And this is also my commentary. Let me explain this one to you for like a Fallout franchise. So here it goes. Let me break it down for you brain dead cow humpers real slow. Filipinos ain't getting picked because they got some magic seafaring blood or divine deck swabbing instincts, alright? They're getting picked because the system back home fucking 6 ways to Sundays. And it's poor as hell. No options and ripe for exploitations like a two-headed rat on a discount. It's not cause we're special, it's cause we're stuck. And don't give me that Magna Carta horseshit like some holy grail. That paper is just lipstick on a radioactive pig. What we need is proper pay, ironclad unions, and cadets not getting tossed overboard. And a fat-ass nuke drop on illegal recruiters. Now until then, they'll just keep selling the Filipino pride crap to dressed up abuse in a fancy goddamn uniform. Yeah, and that's all. That's all I had to say. So anyway, if you kind of like my video, please, kind of click on that like and subscribe button. It will really help me a lot when it comes to making videos like this. So again, this is Operator 214. Have a great day, everyone, and we'll see you again on our next vlog. So bye-bye, guys. See you around.